You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you fed up with the corporate bullshit holding you back? Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast, the ultimate launchpad for entrepreneurs ready to seize control and unleash their creative genius. Hosted by Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. Each week he's breaking the chains of conventional work with bold strategies, raw insights, and inspiring success stories from the digital entrepreneurs who took the risk and invested in themselves. This is your call to arms. Invest in yourself, break free from someone else's rules, and build the empire you deserve. Now let's dive headfirst into today's explosive episode.
Welcome back to another dynamic episode of Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast, hosted by your guide to entrepreneurial success, Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. Today, we have an extraordinary guest with us who is rewriting the rules of strategic marketing for personal brands, creators, and coaches. She's the visionary behind Navi, a company that is changing the game when it comes to scaling digital brands and building membership, product, and funnel strategies that actually work. She saw a gap in the marketplace, the need for top-tier marketing leadership specifically for creators, and she filled it in one of the most major ways possible. Her handpicked team of experts has worked with industry giants like Jenna Kushner, Boss Babe Natalie Ellis, Gabby Bernstein, and Donald Miller of StoryBrand, helping them make a massive impact. Now, our mission is simple but bold: to make Navi the go-to name in marketing leadership for creators and digital brands aiming to scale to the top. So please get ready for some serious insights as we welcome the only Jess, founder of Navi, to the podcast. Jess, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Great intro.
You're very welcome. I always like to hype up our guests because you guys are the star of the show. I'm just the hype man. I'm just here off to the side looking in and watching the greatness unfold. So thank you so much for being here. Jess, we're going to start off right off the bat. We touched a bit of why you may have been an entrepreneur to fix that hole in the market, but what really turned you from a 9-to-5er, corporate maybe lifestyler to the entrepreneurial life?
Yeah, great question. I'd been working in marketing in the corporate world for about 12 years before I started this company. And I think I've kind of always had that entrepreneurial itch. I remember in my very first job out of university, I was actually working as an intern. And I probably had the best setup you could have. I had an amazing boss. I worked at a tech startup, like in the days when tech startups were like so fun and like beer Fridays and like it was full fun, casual environment. Worked with my best friend, had an amazing boss, all of the things, but I still was kind of like, I don't know about this. Like, I just never really loved the feeling of like, having, someone else's schedule, someone else assigning me tasks. Like I just felt this desire to create something of my own and really like steer my own days and my career and everything. So I knew the timing wasn't right. Like I definitely wanted to get some proper experience under my belt and mentorship and learn from people that were smarter than me and ahead of me. But I think it had been in the back of my mind probably since my first job out of university.
Love that. And what event led to you? Is Navi your first venture as an entrepreneur, or is this accumulation of multiple ventures coming into your expertise?
Yeah, it's my first. I had always done, things off the side of my desk when I had my full-time jobs, but nothing that was like a, true company that I was really building. So actually what started this was I had my second daughter. And at the time I was working somewhere like very, very flexible. The CEO was a friend of mine. The company was very, very family friendly, like truly like babies on laps during Zoom meetings. Like it couldn't have been more flexible. But I just, that like itch and that voice kept coming up like, okay, now's the time. And I'm like, now's the time. Like, look, I've got my second baby and I have a 1-year-old at home. Like, is this really the time? But I just couldn't really ignore it. I just felt like really drawn to working on my own business and being creative and just like starting to see what I could build myself. So it was probably about a week before I had my daughter, I started building my website, and the rest is history.
No stress, baby on the way. Yeah, let's just try. We'll put out this website in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Women entrepreneurs always impress me because you're handling so much and you're like, oh yeah, let's just add this other completely thing that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to put that on the table and just be successful anyways. So with with you creating Navi and you're looking to be at the top tier of marketing for creators, how did that come about? Like, why did you decide on that industry specifically, or that niche of clientele specifically?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So my background, I would say, has primarily been working with direct to consumer brands. And so when I started this business, actually for about the first year, I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to niche down and like what that would look like. So I kind of took on a variety of different clients. And as I did that, I started to learn, what do I like? What do I not like? And I think there was a few reasons why I chose this niche. I really like that because most of these clients, their offerings are digital. They're either, courses or guides or programs, sometimes, masterminds or memberships. And what happens typically with that kind of a product offering compared to like an e-commerce product is their profit margins are so much higher, because it's typically like, especially when you think about a course, create it once and then every time you sell it, there's really not much on like the delivery side. Obviously it gets a little bit different when it comes to like the higher ticket programs and like the hands-on masterminds and things like that. But I love it from a profitability standpoint because I can be working with like such a bigger breadth of businesses versus I found in like the e-commerce space, it was challenging to find that sweet spot of businesses who were ready for the support and strategy behind like working with a fractional CMO, but also weren't already so big that they had, a massive e-commerce team and CMO already in-house and all of the things. So that's probably one piece. And then I just really actually love a lot of the tactics and strategies within this niche. And it's changing a lot and changing quickly. And I love change. Making it, harder on myself. But I just think it's really interesting. There's a lot to keep up with. And with all of the change comes a lot of like testing and iterating and like leaning into data to really tell you what is and isn't working. And I love all of that. So yeah, that's probably like the primary reasons. And then I just think that it's a cool and really fun industry to work with. And I really noticed a gap in terms of like, there's no shortage of business coaches or marketing people that say they support this group of individuals or this niche. But there is such a gap of people with experience doing it. And so coming from my background, often I would step in to work with clients like this at the beginning when I was trying to sort out my niche. And it sort of stemmed from this like almost annoyance of like, wow, I hate coming in and like seeing that these people have been burned and they've invested in the wrong thing, or they just didn't really know who to hire. And so it really just stemmed from this place of like, I want to be the person that is like guiding and supporting and helping, and like whether they're consuming my free content and learning like who to hire, the questions to ask, and how should they go about growing their business, or working with me and my team directly. Like it comes from a place of like just really, really trying to like use my experience to help them make better decisions in their business and marketing.
I love that. you brought up fractional CMO. Now, this is probably something some of us entrepreneurs never heard of, and some of the listeners may never have even had a clue that you can be a fractional CMO or what the heck a fractional CMO actually does.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on that. First of all, how did you get into the world of fractional CMO? And just before that, could you explain what a fractional CMO typically does for the audience?
Yeah. So a fractional CMO is a part-time chief marketing officer for your business. So part-time head of marketing. Typically, the CMO role is responsible for creating strategy. So really looking and knowing and understanding your business goals and then saying, okay, if you want to go there, this is what marketing needs to be doing. So think like really high level, like, are you targeting the right audience? Are you differentiated enough? Are you showing up on the right channels? If you're on a certain channel, call it email or social media, are you doing that effectively? Meaning like, is it actually moving the needles? Are your audiences growing? Or is it healthy growth? All of that stuff. So setting the strategy, making sure you have the right team in place to actually execute on the strategy. Setting goals and KPIs so that you know and understand, and the team knows and understands like what needs to happen on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis from a measurable goal perspective in order to get us closer to the broader business goals that we have as a team. And then all sorts of like sort of operational things around team systems and setup and process and things like that. So the biggest kind of distinction that I like to make when I'm talking with, leads myself is that the CMO, we are like owning the marketing arm. So as a CEO, you get to just really, truly sit in the visionary seat. What that doesn't mean is we are not executing. So we're not creating posts for social media. We're not sending out emails. We're not writing copy for your landing page. Like the execution is done by a team, or sometimes our clients will need some extra support. So we'll bring in some contractors. We have lots of agencies we've worked with that we love that we'll recommend. But primarily we are like managing strategy and leading the team in execution.
I love that. So you're the 300 feet above the forest, seeing the path and where you're guiding the workers through the path. Yeah. How did you get into being a fractional CMO? Like, how did that end up being? I know you have that background in marketing, but becoming a CMO period of a company, it takes a lot of work. So how did you get that going?
Yeah, it's a great question. When I started this business and I knew I wanted to do my own thing. I knew I loved marketing. That was my background. But I wasn't actually very clear on what that looked like. Like I sat with like, do I want it to be an agency? Is there like a piece of marketing that I really love and I actually maybe want to execute on, like maybe social media? So I really had this period probably of about 6 months of like taking on a variety of projects that came my way. And I used it as a little bit of a test of like, okay, nope, don't like that. Not going to do that again. And okay, nope, that's not it either. And I think like where I really landed with a lot of like reflection was that I loved and was best at strategy. So coming into a company and being able to see like really quickly and clearly what they should be doing from a marketing perspective. And then I'm also very great at collecting great people and like knowing how to spot great talent and pull them into, the right companies. So I started to think to myself, like, is there a part-time, head of marketing? Like that would be really cool. And I think that it was just in like a brainstorm Google one day that I came across the term fractional CMO. And it was such an unlock for me. And then suddenly I was just like reading everything I could about it. Honestly, really trying to find like any resources that I could. And at the time there was really nothing. Like there was other fractional CMOs. So I reached out to like literally anybody that I could find. And I would ask them, hey, can I, pick your brain? Can I hop on a virtual coffee with you? I'll pay you. Like, I just want to know and understand, like, what do your packages look like? How do you price yourself? Like, how do you actually do this role with clients? Like, what does this look like on a day-to-day basis? Like, how much time are you spending with the clients? Like, I just had a lot of tactical questions. So there was so many people that were like very gracious and generous with their time and taught me a lot and like would send me sample proposals and sample strategies and all of the things. And that was kind of really like how I got started. And then from there, it was just like iterating my own process of working with clients.
I love that. Oh, I love that you went out for help to find out when you discovered this little weird little niche. Because being a fractional CMO, CEO, or any of the C-suite level is a very niche down place. Like a lot of businesses don't know or think they need a full-timer when they actuality can get that part-time and brings in more business and saves money at the same time as well, and helps you strategize so that you are able to hire that full-time CMO to hopefully take you to the next level. With that said, because you've worked with a lot of different industry leaders, like I mentioned before, there was Jenna, there's Gabby, there's the Boss Babes. But what do you see as a common thread that allows these top creators to break through and scale significantly? Is it things like strategy, mindset, or is it a mixture of factors? Like, what do you see is kind of common with all of them?
That's a really good question. I think a common thread is tough to find. Often what we see, back to when I was saying there's a lot of like people out there teaching things that aren't really working. Often what we see is like someone trying to make someone else's strategy work for themselves. And that's not always the case. Like it's definitely not a one size fits all industry whatsoever. But I would say if it really comes down to like a common thread, I think the creators that have been really successful have been able to build a personal brand alongside their niche expertise. So they're not just being like, hey, I'm going to put a, flag in the ground and be known for, like, if you take Amy Porterfield, for example, is very well known for Digital Course Academy, which is a program that will help you take your expertise and turn it into a course that then you can sell and, monetize your experience. If you go on any of her socials, like she's not always talking about courses. Like she does talk about it, but she has so many more like multifaceted angles that she shares. Everything from like entrepreneurship to her life at home and travel and just a lot of her values and stuff. So I think when we look at the creators that have been really successful, they've been able to share some semblance of their personality and build an audience and a following that's like kind of bigger than what they're selling, so that, if they want to pivot one day, they have a following that's like connected to them as a person, not only their offering. So they have a little bit more flexibility there too.
Love that. That's a great piece of advice as well for the audience listening. Sprinkle a little bit of your personality in there. Let them see you as a human and not just this product, if you will, or company. Because I think that's what's happened, I find, with big businesses and why we're no longer quote unquote loyal. It's because we have no connection. It's just this faceless entity versus the smaller brands where we get to know, like George down the street as a business. I know George. I get that connection with George. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I totally agree. I think it does create more of a connection and kind of changes your mind shift from like, okay, is this the cheapest? Is this the best? Is this, you start asking those types of questions when you're just looking at like a product-based brand or something that has like no bigger picture brand personality strategy behind it. Versus if you're loyal to someone or like a brand personality or like a movement they've created, you want to be part of that, which is like something bigger. So you're like the product or the thing they're selling is like almost secondary.
Yeah, like you said, everybody wants to be part of an exclusive club that no one else is through. And that when you build a brand around that, that's great that it's not for everybody. This is for select people. And speaking about building those personal brands, since you help others, as the founder of Navi, how have you balanced building your personal brand with growing the company's brand? And do you see them interlinked, or are they separate?
You mean like my agency, like building the agency brand?
Yeah, building the agency and then building your brand as the fractional CMO.
Yeah, totally. I really think if I were looking at it from like a macro perspective, I think that like how you approach that depends on the size of your company, size of your team, and your goals and like vision, kind of longer term. What do you want to do with the company, and what are you trying to turn it into? For me, I don't have a desire to grow a massive agency and like at this point in time anyways have a big exit or anything like that. I really want to keep it boutique. I'm like super particular about who I bring in to work with our clients in terms of like the other CMOs on my team. So what that has meant is I actually haven't focused on building the brand and brand awareness around the Navi name. I've mostly just been focused on my own personal brand and building out, who am I? What am I known for? And like, what are the connections and relationships that I'm investing in and the rooms I'm kind of getting into and networking around.
Very interesting, because most of the entrepreneurs that are focusing on building that business so that it can get those multiples, whether they sell or not, and then they start working on their personal brand, whereas you're doing something a bit of the reverse. And I do love the fact that you're going boutique, because that means, and bespoken, if you will, because you have this ability to fire clients or say no, and you're not worried because your quality of your clients are coming in that are going to just bring the value of your offer higher. It's a very, very unique strategy for an entrepreneur to take, and I love it. Building your team is an investment, because obviously you need to have the right people. You mentioned how you try and find those right people. What have you done to invest in yourself to be able to help find those people to make sure that they're of value?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've invested in myself a ton since starting this company. At the very beginning of this entrepreneurial journey of mine, there was a friend of mine who was putting on an entrepreneur boot camp weekend. And I remember it was $2,000. It was before I really had gotten my business off the ground. And like, to me at that point in time, that was so much money. Like I was like, okay, I know I need to do this. I know this is, a step in the right direction, but I was like, it's like almost like sick about it, making that big of an investment to me at that time. But I did it. And actually through that event, I ended up meeting one of my coaches. She's been my coach for over 3 years now. She specializes a lot in like mindset, but a little bit of business strategy too. And I am someone who has, for my whole life, almost done therapy and counseling. This woman has like profoundly changed my life and who I am and how I show up as a human and business owner and wife and mom and friend and all of the things. And like working with her has been a way more massive investment, but my business has grown because of the work I've done as a person. And because of like, there's a mentor that I have that says like, you need to become, I forget exactly how he phrases it, but it's like, you need to become the person that you are meant to be in order to like step into that next version of, your business or your life. And I really feel like that happened for me. Like I've gone through like such a transformation and like metamorphosis, and I really would not have the business that I have, clients that I have. I am earning like, and I don't mean this in a gross, like everyone's all over Instagram with their income, but I'm earning like 5 times what I was making in corporate, and like smashing goals that I thought I would never in my wildest dreams hit. And it like truly all stems down to investing in myself and like doing the inner work that was really required.
I love that. And that's a great answer. And I like how you preface it, like you don't want to be boasting about your income, but it's very important because it's a result. You're not boasting about it. You're just showing that changing the mindset, working with this amazing coach. By the way, we're going to talk about her this coach off, because I would love to have her on, or I love them on the podcast. But it's showing how powerful changing your mindset is and putting in the work to make your mind open to the ideas that you can get those huge wins that 2 years ago you thought was never possible. I love that, because once you see something, like once you experience, you're like, oh, this is possible. Like you see other people do it and it's like, yeah, they can do it. But once it happens to you, your life gets flipped upside down.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, it's just been like one of these things that I'm like, okay, now I can't unsee this. Like I want to like shout it from the rooftops and like wake everybody up. And um out of this has kind of stemmed like another part of my business that I'm building right now. I launched it about a year ago. It's called Fractional CMO School. And I'm teaching other marketers how to launch and grow their own fractional CMO business. So how to really like step out of the grind of like whether they're in a 9 to 5 that they are not loving, or maybe they're working as a freelancer and they're working a million hours and trying to figure out like how do you make more money and like not be working around the clock. And I think like it stemmed from having so many people coming to me as I was building this business and saying like, Jess, how are you doing this? Like, how do you do this? How do you work with clients? Could I be fractional? Like, how do I make that transition? And because I've had so many people help me in my career and just for free, like hop on or take a call with me and share what they've learned, I was doing that as much as I could, but my calendar was getting like jam packed. And I kept thinking like, how can I have a bigger impact here? Like, how can I help more people and it not be like, my 40 hours a week taken up with free coffees. And so, yeah, I started Fractional CMO School and it's been running now for about a year. I had a small cohort of beta students go through it and the results were like better than I could have imagined. Like the feedback's been phenomenal. We've had so many people come to me and say just like, thank you so much. I could have never done this without these resources. I've been able to quit my job. And it's just been so amazing to be able to like give back and share and like, I think just open other people's eyes to what's possible for them as well. And just, help them have like the unlocks that I've experienced.
I love that. Love that, giving back, because that's one of the biggest multipliers I've found interviewing so many entrepreneurs. Is the minute you start giving back and lifting people up, you start 10xing your life. Like it's insane. And I'm very excited to have you come back in the future and tell us how well this fractional CML school is going and how it's now running your life, and you've left Navi to run itself because you're so busy. Because that's going to be a great question. I want to jump into the future though.
Yeah.
Speaking of how this fractional CMO school is going, Navi's going great. Where do you see yourself, Jessica, as an individual, as a fractional CMO, but also where do you see your businesses in the next 10 years?
Ooh, 10 years is a big, long vision. I think that one's a little bit hard, but if I just like take the years away and think about like my future vision, I would love to build up Fractional CMO School to be, a really bigger piece of my company right now. I still think I will always be involved in like the Navi agency side of things. I just really I truly love what I do, which I feel really lucky. I don't think there's a lot of people that like feel that about their work, but I truly, really love it. And so I will always, I think, have an involvement in the client side, but I really love mentoring other marketers. And so I think it would be awesome to grow my team a little bit more. I have 2 CMOs on it now. So, if we worked up to like 5 really like rock star people and just had like this great suite of just only ideal clients and people that we loved working with. That's my right now vision. But I feel like I've been proven like over and over again that things happen like faster than I could have imagined and in different ways. So I'm also like very open to my vision changing and seeing what comes my way. But that's the present day future vision.
I love it. I love it because it's keeping it simple towards the goals that you want, so that you're still loving what you do. Instead of having this huge goal about, I want to exit in 5 years and then multiply this and that. You're like, no, I want to get my team up to rock stars, have those good clients, that nice steady income while I'm helping others with the school and living life and enjoying your children. Because that's what life is about, right? Passing on the generational knowledge. As we speak about generational knowledge, I want to go back to the 10-year-old version of you. because she's standing right beside me. She's amazing. She's very talkative and very smiley, I must say. A delight to have here with us on the podcast. But I would love to know, what's a piece of advice that you would love to be able to hand back to your 10-year-old self if you're given the opportunity?
Oh my God. How do I pick just one?
That man you were supposed to marry, stay away from him. No, but that we'll leave out.
Yeah, that is so hard. I think I would probably, if I had to choose one, I would choose something along the lines of like, have faith and just know that like everything is happening for you and not to you. I think that like I had a pretty challenging childhood, and in my early 20s was like dealing with a lot of the repercussions of that. And I think I just was in a headspace of like, I can't wait to like not be here, and not here, but like just move past this like stuff I'm going through. And I think like, and sometimes even wishing like, why does it have to be this way? And I think like I am the way I am, and I've been so successful in my business, and I'm the person that I am because of everything that I've experienced in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. And I wouldn't change anything now. So I think just like kind of having that peace of mind and being able to like tell my younger self that, you know, this is all for a reason, and like great things are coming your way.
Oh, it's a great piece of advice that we all need to hear every once in a while, no matter if we're a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 75-year-old entrepreneur or human. Things happen for us, not to us. Jessica, I'm going to jump off the stage here. I want you to tell my audience where they can connect with you, how they can follow you, and if they're looking for that fractional CMO, how they can get that chat with you, or if they're looking to become a fractional CMO, how they can join your school. So the floor is yours.
Amazing. Yeah. So you can find our website at risewithnavi.com, or you can find me on Instagram, marketing.by.jess. If you want to work with us, you can find on my website, reach out for a discovery call. Happy to chat with you and see if we're a good fit. If you're interested in becoming a fractional CMO, I have a few resources for free around like how to really get your business started. And then if you want even more support, all of the information for Fractional CMO School is available on my Instagram and on our website as well.
Amazing. Jess, I want to thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure chatting with you and learning so much about you, and the fact that eventually I can join the Fractional CMO School. That's what I'm looking forward to, Jess. One day becoming a fractional CMO like yourself. But Jess, I thank you so much for being here and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
To my audience, make sure you check out those show notes down below, because that's where you're going to be able to connect with Jess and maybe find yourself a fractional CMO or become a fractional CMO with Navi or the CMO School. So I thank you very much for listening, very much for being here. Jess, again, big thank you for coming in today to be on the podcast. And as always, remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for joining us on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. The Podcast Mogul reminds you that your journey to freedom and success starts with one powerful move: investing in yourself. If today's episode sparked your fire, hit that follow button on Spotify and drop us a comment. Share your wins, your challenges, and what drives you to break free from the corporate grind. Remember, you're your best investment. Always invest in yourself, because your potential is limitless. Until next time, keep hustling and take control of your destiny.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit To get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.